no matter who you are, no matter where you've been, and no matter where you are right now, you are welcome here. Welcome to Daily Audio Bible Chronological. I'm Jill. Today is the 13th day of April. I am so glad that you're here. I hope that you are guarding and protecting your peace. I hope that whether the skies are gray or blue, you know that behind those clouds, there is a sun that is shining, that there's nowhere on this earth that you can go to escape the sun from shining, that whether you acknowledge it or realize it, that even if it's cold that you're feeling, know that you are here because that sun is radiating warmth, and you're here because the sun is shining. Maybe even get out for just a few minutes and get your face and your skin up to the sun and feel its rays, and know that the mercies that are new every morning are there just as assured as that sun is gonna shine on your skin and warm you by the light of its rays. Let's jump into our reading today. Today we're reading 1 Samuel chapters 18 through 20. And then we're going to flip over to Psalm and read Psalm 11 and Psalm 59. And what's happening as we're reading and jumping over is, as we read in chronological, we get this in-depth look within the Psalms of what is actually happening. A lot of it emotional, almost like reading someone's journal, personal journal, the details that are happening within the person in between the pages of the story. And so we interject these psalms in some places within the story that give us, sometimes I call it like a 3D emotional, in-depth look. So we'll talk about that more as we go on, but this is our reading for today. We're reading the Lexham English Bible version. Let's jump in. 1 Samuel chapter 18. When he finished speaking to Saul, the soul of Jonathan became attached to the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. Saul took him on that very day and did not allow him to return to his father's house. Then Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as his own soul. Jonathan stripped off the robe that he was wearing and gave it to David along with his fighting attire and even his sword, his bow, and his belt. David went out whenever Saul sent him, and he succeeded. So Saul appointed him over the men of the war, and it pleased all the people and even pleased the servants of Saul. When they were coming back after David had returned from striking down the Philistine, the women went out from all the cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet King Saul with tambourines, with joy, and with 3-stringed instruments. And the women sang as they danced, and they said, "Saul has struck down his thousands, but David his 10,000s." Saul became very angry, and this saying displeased him, and he thought, "They have attributed to David 10,000s, but to me they have attributed thousands. What more can he have but the kingdom?" So Saul was watching David with suspicion from that day onward. On the next day, the evil spirit from God rushed upon Saul, and he prophesied in the middle of the house. Now David was playing the lyre with his hand on that day as usual, and the spear was in Saul's hand. Then Saul hurled the spear and thought, "I will pin David to the wall." But David eluded him twice. Now Saul was threatened by the presence of David because Yahweh was with him, but had departed from Saul. So Saul removed him from his presence and made him commander of 1,000. So he marched in and out at the front of the army. And David was achieving success in all his ways, and Yahweh was with him. But when Saul saw that he was very successful, he was severely threatened by him. However, all of Israel and Judah were loving David, for he was going forth and marching ahead of them. Then Saul said to David, "Here is my older daughter Merab. I will give her to you as your wife. Only be a brave warrior for me and fight the battles of Yahweh." For Saul thought, "My hand will not be against him, but let the hand of the Philistines be against him." But David said to Saul, "Who am I, and who are my relatives, the clan of my father in Israel, that I should be a son-in-law to the king?" But at the time Saul's daughter Merab was to be given to David, she was given instead to Adriel, the Maholathite, as wife. Now Saul's daughter Michal loved David, so they told Saul, and the matter pleased him. And Saul thought, "I will give her to him, so that she may be a snare for him, and the hand of the Philistines may be against him." So Saul said to David, "For a second time, you can become my son-in-law today." Then Saul commanded his servants, "Speak to David in secret, saying, 'Look, the king is pleased with you, and all his servants love you. So then, become a son-in-law of the king.'" And Saul's servants spoke these words to David privately. But David said, "Is it insignificant in your sight to become the son-in-law of the king, as I am a poor and lightly esteemed man?" So the servants of Saul informed him, saying, "This is what David said." Then Saul said, "This is what you must say to David. The king desires no bride price except for 100 foreskins of the Philistines to avenge himself on the enemies of the king." Now Saul had planned to allow David to fall by the hand of the Philistines. So his servants told David these words, and the matter pleased David to become the son-in-law of the king, as the specified time had not expired. And David got up, and he and his men went and struck down 200 men of the Philistines. Then David brought their foreskins, and they presented the full number to become the king's son-in-law. Then Saul gave him Michal, his daughter, as his wife. When Saul realized that Yahweh was with David and his own daughter Michal loved him, Saul was threatened by David still more. So Saul became a perpetual enemy of David. Then the commanders of the Philistines went out for battle, and as often as they went out, David succeeded more than all the servants of Saul, and his name became very esteemed. Now Saul spoke to Jonathan his son and to all his servants about killing David, but Saul's son Jonathan liked David very much. So Jonathan informed David, saying, "My father Saul is trying to kill you. Now please take care. In the morning you should stay in the hiding place and conceal yourself. I will go out and stand at my father's side in the field where you are, and I will speak about you to my father. If I find out anything, I will tell it to you." So Jonathan spoke well about David to his father Saul and said to him, "The king should not sin against his servant David, because he has not sinned against you, and because his servant for you has been very good. He put his life in his hand and attacked the Philistine, and Yahweh brought about a great victory for all of Israel, and you saw it and rejoiced. Now why should you sin against innocent blood by killing David without cause?" And Saul listened to the voice of Jonathan and swore, "As Yahweh lives, he will not be put to death." Jonathan called to David and told him all of these words. Then Jonathan brought David to Saul, and he was before him as formerly. War came again, so David went out and fought against the Philistines and defeated them thoroughly, so that they fled before him. And the evil spirit from Yahweh came upon Saul while he was sitting in his house with his spear in his hand. And David was playing a stringed instrument in his hand. So Saul tried to pin David to the wall with the spear, and he eluded Saul, so that he struck the spear into the wall, and David fled and escaped that same night. Then Saul sent messengers to David's house to guard him and to kill him in the morning. But Michal his wife told David, saying, "If you do not save your life tonight, then tomorrow you will be killed." So Michal lowered David through the window, and he went and fled and escaped. Then Michal took the household god and put it on the bed, and put a quilt of goat's hair at its head and covered it with the clothes. And Saul sent messengers to arrest David, but she said, "He is ill." So Saul sent the messengers to see David, saying, "Bring him up to me in the bed so that I can kill him." When the messengers came, to To their surprise, the idol was on the bed with a quilt of goat's hair at the head. Then Saul said to Michal, "Why have you deceived me like this and sent away my enemy so that he escaped?" Michal said to Saul, "He said to me, 'Let me go. Why should I kill you?'" So David fled and escaped, and he came to Samuel at Ramah and told him all that Saul had done to him. Then he and Samuel went and stayed in Naioth. And it was told to Saul, David is in Naioth in Ramah. So Saul sent messengers to capture David. When they saw the company of the prophets prophesying, and Samuel standing as chief over them, then the Spirit of God came upon Saul's messengers, and they also prophesied. So they told Saul, and he sent other messengers, and they also prophesied. Again Saul sent messengers a third time, and they also prophesied. Then he also went to Ramah. When he came to the great cistern which was in Seku, he asked and said, "Where are Samuel and David?" Someone said, Look, they are in Naioth in Ramah." So he went there to Naioth in Ramah, and the Spirit of God came upon him also, and he walked along prophesying until he came to Naioth in Ramah. He also stripped off his clothes and prophesied before Samuel. He lay naked all that day and all night. Therefore they say, "Is Saul also among the prophets?" Then David fled from Naioth in Ramah and came and said before Jonathan, "What have I done? What is my guilt and what is my sin before your father that he is trying to kill me?" And he said to him, "Far from it. You will not die. Look, my father does not do anything large or small unless he reveals it to me. Why should my father hide this thing or anything from me?" Then David took an oath again and said, "Your father knows very well that I have found favor in your eyes." And he thought, "Do not let Jonathan know this, lest he worry. But as Yahweh lives and as your soul lives, surely there is merely a step between me and death." Then Jonathan said to David, "Whatever you wish, I will do for you." David said to Jonathan, "Look, tomorrow is the new moon, and I should certainly sit with the king to eat. You must send me away so that I can hide myself in the field until the third evening. If your father misses me at all, then you must say, 'David earnestly asked from me to run to Bethlehem, his city, for the yearly sacrifice is there for all the clan.' If he says, 'Good,' it will mean peace for your servant. But if he is very angry, know that he has decided to do me harm. So you must show loyal love to your servant, for you have brought your servant into a covenant of Yahweh with you. But if there is guilt in me, then kill me yourself. But why should you bring me to your father?" Then Jonathan said, "Far be it from you. For if I know for certain that my father decided evil should come upon you, would I not have told it to you?" Then David said to Jonathan, "Who will tell me if what your father answers you is harsh?" And Jonathan said to David, "Come, let us go out to the field." So the two of them went out to the field. Then Jonathan said to David, "Yahweh, the God of Israel, is my witness, that I will question my father by this time the day after tomorrow. And look, if he is well disposed toward you, will I not send word to you and disclose it to you? So may Yahweh punish Jonathan and more if my father decides to do you harm, and if I fail to disclose it to you and send word to you that you can go safely. And may Yahweh be with you, as he has been with my father. And not while I am still alive will you not show the loyal love of Yahweh with me, that I may not die. And do not cut off your loyal love from my family forever, not even when Yahweh exterminates each of the enemies of David from the face of the earth." So Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, "May Yahweh call the enemies of David to account." And Jonathan again made David swear an oath because he loved him, for with the love of his soul he loved him. Then Jonathan said to him, "Tomorrow is the new moon, and you will be missed, for your seat will stay empty. On the third day you must go down quickly and go to the place where you hid yourself on the day all this started, and remain beside the stone Ezel. I will shoot 3 arrows to the sides as if I were shooting at a target. Then I will send word to my servant, 'Go, find the arrows.' If I clearly say to the boy, 'Look, the arrows are on this side of you, bring it,' then come, for it means peace for you. And there is no problem, as Yahweh lives. But if I say this to the young man, 'Look, the arrows are beyond you, go, for Yahweh has sent you away.' And as for the matter about which you and I spoke, look, Yahweh is between you and me forever." So David hid himself in the field. When the new moon came, the king was seated at the feast. The king sat at his seat as before, the seat by the wall, and Jonathan got up, and Abner sat beside Saul, but David's place was empty. But Saul said nothing on that day, for he thought, "Something happened to him. He is not ceremonially clean. Surely he is not clean." And then on the next day, the second day of the new moon, that David's place was empty. So Saul asked Jonathan his son, "Why did the son of Jesse not come either yesterday or today to the feast?" Jonathan answered Saul, "David earnestly asked permission from me to go up to Bethlehem. He said, 'Send me away, please, for our clan sacrifice is in the city, and my brother commanded me to be present. So then, if I have found favor in your eyes, please let me slip away and see my brothers.' Therefore he has not come to the table of the king." And Saul became angry at Jonathan and said to him, "You son of a perverse, rebellious woman, do I not know that you have chosen the son of Jesse to your shame and to the shame of your mother's nakedness? For as long as the son of Jesse is alive on the earth, you and your kingdom will not be established. So then, send and bring him to me, for he will surely die." But Jonathan answered his father Saul and said to him, "Why should he be put to death? What has he done?" Then Saul hurled his spear at him to kill him. So Jonathan knew that his father had decided to kill David. Jonathan got up from the table enraged and did not eat on the second day of the new moon because he was upset about David, because his father had disgraced him. And then in the morning Jonathan went out to the field for the appointment with David, and a young boy was with him. He said to his servant, "Run, please find the arrows that I am shooting." The boy ran, and he shot the arrow to pass over him. When the boy came up to the place of the arrow that Jonathan had shot, Jonathan called out after the boy and said, "Is not the arrow beyond you?" Then Jonathan called out after the boy, "Quick, hurry, do not linger." And Jonathan's servant collected the arrows and came to his master. But the boy did not know anything about this. Only Jonathan and David knew the matter. Jonathan gave his weapons to his servant and said to him, "Go, bring them to the city." The boy left, and then David got up from the south side, and he fell on his face to the ground and bowed 3 times. And they kissed each other and wept together. But David wept the most. Jonathan said to David, "Go in peace, because we have sworn, the 2 of us, an oath in the name of Yahweh, saying, 'Yahweh will be between me and you, and between my offspring and your offspring forever.'" And he got up and left, and Jonathan went into the city. Psalm chapter 11. In Yahweh I have taken refuge. How can you say to my soul, "Flee to your mountain like a bird"? For look, the wicked string the bow. They have fitted their arrow to the string to shoot from the darkness at the upright of heart. When the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? Yahweh is in his holy temple. Yahweh is in the heavens on his throne. His eyelids see. They test the children of humankind. Yahweh tests the righteous, but the wicked and the lover of violence his soul hates. He will rain coals on the wicked. Burning sulfur and scorching wind will be the portion of their cup. For Yahweh is righteous. He loves righteous deeds. The upright shall see his face. And finally today, Psalm 59. Deliver me from my enemies, O my God. Protect me from those who rise up against me. Deliver me from workers of iniquity, and from men of bloodshed save me. For look, they lie in wait for my life. The mighty attack against me, not because of my transgression or my sin, O Yahweh. Without guilt on my part, they run and ready themselves. Awake to meet me and see. And you, Yahweh, God of hosts, are the God of Israel. Rouse yourself to punish all the nations. Do not be gracious to any who treacherously plot evil. Selah. They return at evening. They howl like dogs while they prowl the city. Look, they pour out talk with their mouth. Swords are on their lips, for they say, "Who hears?" But you, O Yahweh, will laugh at them. You will mock all the nations. O my strength, I will watch for you, because you, O God, are my high stronghold. My God of loyal love will meet me. God will cause me to look in triumph on my enemies. Do not kill them, lest my people forget. Make them to wander by your power, and bring them down, O Lord, our shield. By the sin of their mouth and the words of their lips, even in their pride, let them be trapped. And for the curses and lies they proclaim, destroy in anger, destroy so they are no more, so that they may know that God is ruling in Jacob to the ends of the earth. Selah. They return at evening, they howl like dogs while they prowl the city. As for them, they wander for food. If they are not satisfied, then they continue all night. But as for me, I will sing of your strength, and I will hail your loyal love in the morning, because you have been my high stronghold and a refuge in my time of trouble. O my strength, to you I will give praise, because God is my high stronghold, my God of loyal love. Okay, so you may have noticed we went from King Saul, a king appointed by God, because this is what the people demanded to have, what everybody else had around them. They were ruled by kings. The people did not want God to rule them any longer. They wanted a king. God gave them a king, and King Saul looked the part. Handsome man. He stood taller than all the other Israelites from his shoulders up, and by the outside appearance, he is the dude for the day. But his disobedience cost him greatly, and so God has called a new king. And here's the interesting thing that I think is worth noting, and maybe you caught it too. We went from a man who looked the part, King Saul, to the least likely person to be king. God told Samuel to go to Jesse's house, and all of the sons passed by. None of them were who God had chosen, until Jesse, the father, is asked, "Are these all your sons?" "No, I've got one that's tending the sheep, but surely he's not going to be the man fit to be king." A shepherd boy. And here's the thing I love about David being a shepherd and being least likely to be king, that I think is so fitting today in leadership and servanthood. The shepherd is supposed to smell like the sheep. Shepherding sheep is dirty work. It is messy work. It is worthy work. And that doesn't mean you're going to clean up sometimes. You're going to put on clean clothes. You're going to take a shower. You're going to take a bath. You're even going to clean behind the ears sometimes. But in order to be a good shepherd, you're going to have to smell like the sheep. You're going to have to get your hands dirty. There's going to be some that go astray, that you leave the fold to find the one, to rescue the one. David is the least likely person for this job, to be king of Israel, in the eye of the people, in the eye of man. But isn't it just like God to call the least likely, to see their giftings and their potential beyond the naked eye, to look past the person and to see the heart of man? David is a man after God's own heart. And we will see what these words mean as this story plays out. But really important events take place as David volunteers to step up and take on the giant Goliath that no one else will. And when he does so, he earns tremendous popularity in the land. And the women start singing a song about David. And essentially the message is that Saul was good, but David is great. And this infuriates Saul. This causes Saul to become extremely envious of David. And we're going to watch and see what happens as the extreme wickedness of envy plays out between two people. And I hope that in the story, you hear it in a way that you've never heard it before. It's one of the most powerful stories to me in the Old Testament. And that could be quite possibly because it's personal. But even as David cries out to God in Saul's pursuit of David's life, I hope that you will see the Psalms more clearly. The words that David cries to God when this man of war, this man of hunting and shepherding and extreme capability of protecting himself and slaying giants, what he is capable of doing and what he then chooses to do. So as we bring today to a close, yes, this is very true. King Saul would like David to die for no other reason than he is more well-liked than King Saul. So much so that David has fled. Jonathan, Saul's son, is now aware of what his father, what his intent is for David. And we will watch this play out day by day. Jesus, we thank you for your word. Thank you for opening our eyes to see and our ears to hear. I pray that you continue to open our hearts, mold them, make them moldable, pliable, hearts of flesh, not hearts of stone, so that we can see things in our own lives that we have been asleep to. Awaken us from our slumber, O God. Cause us to change. And we give you praise and glory. And we pray this in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.